All right, y'all, welcome to another episode of Next Level Teaching. We're here with, of course, our co-host Tori and the super dope and amazing Dr. Quinita Morrow. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yes.
This is part 2. So if you missed the first part, you definitely want to go back and watch the previous episode.
Yeah.
In the previous episode, you were sharing with us a little while ago how, you got into education, how you left corporate America, you got into education, you was going to just be a year, and then you fell in love with it.
Yes.
And then after a couple of years, you began to bring in some guests. The first year, I think it was 3 guests.
Yep.
Next year, 12 guests, and now you have over 100 plus guests coming a year. Some of them are celebrities, some of them own businesses, some of them are in areas of finance, but they all help to not only teach your marketing class, but they're not necessarily teaching it, they're more sharing their story.
Right.
And now your students see how the marketing that you're teaching every day and the entrepreneurship, how that directly correlates to real life.
Right.
So all that's amazing. Everybody in the school system in the district looking at you like the GOAT. It's probably some haters that wish they could get celebrities to come up in their class and presidents of banks and stuff like that. But you're doing all this great work. Mm-hmm. And then the pandemic hit. Was it a smooth transition? Was it challenging? Like, how did it affect you?
So I've been teaching 14 years. Mm-hmm. And just transparency moment. Yep. Mm-hmm. This was the hardest year I've ever had in my career.
Yep.
Wow.
It got to the point where I really questioned myself. Was this where I was supposed to be?
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, it was hard.
I want to stop right there. And I just want to sit in that for just a moment because...
Now you're not the only one.
Yeah.
Because I know the convos we've had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I want those of you that are listening in at home to know that you're not alone as well. And I know that there are teachers out there that did do really, really well. Miss Trapplingual herself said she did okay. Because she felt like she was tech savvy, and I'm tech savvy as well, but this year was still the hardest year I've ever experienced. I thought about leaving. I am not sure if this is still where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
I'm in a place where I'm praying to see if this upcoming school year can redeem last year.
Right. And I don't care how many years you've been teaching.
Yeah.
This past year, this was like a first-year teacher for everybody.
Everyone.
You can have 20 years, 25, 10 years. It didn't matter.
And we kind of joked about that a little bit. I was a mentor to a first-year teacher this past year and a student teacher.
Oh, wow.
And
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yep. There were tons of other things too, but we won't go there. But we kind of joked about how... I don't know how I really mentored them through all of that because, I was building the plane as we were flying it just like they were.
Right.
And so I want to take a moment to just acknowledge that for everyone and to let everyone else know and to let you even know that that's okay.
Yeah.
That's like... I think as a world, this was one of the hardest years we've ever experienced. But I definitely think education and nurses, frontline workers really felt it the most.
And you know what's most impressive?
We
Y'all
survived.
are still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still here.
I didn't think we were.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to make it through this year, just being honest.
Right.
It was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was a struggle.
And so for everybody, it's a struggle. I know for Tori, it was teaching concurrently, right? So it's just like, okay, now I'm home and I got virtual kids. Now I'm in the classroom and I've also got kids at home. And then, so some people, it was a disconnect and not being able to connect with the kids. Like, what was it for you that made it so challenging?
Well, I think for me, I was actually at home for a while.
Okay.
I ended up I tell people I had a freak accident that turned into my biggest blessing. I ended up having knee surgery. So I was working from home and then I went back into the classroom. I hated hybrid. I hated it.
Yeah.
I would rather have all kids in person or all kids online.
Yep.
And it helped me realize I'm not an online teacher. I need that interaction.
Right.
I need to be able to see when you're not understanding something.
Right.
I need to be able to see that puzzle look that you're giving me.
Yep.
I need to be able to see that, and I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
And in my district, we couldn't require the kids to turn their cameras on. Nope. So Sally logged into the computer, walked off, and went to play video games. While I'm teaching my heart out, but little Sally is nowhere to be found.
We got to a point where
We
were allowed to mark them absent, like not digitally present, if their camera wasn't on, which I was fine if a kid was having a bad day and they were like, if they would, chat me, message me and say, hey, my dog died, or I'm just struggling with my anxiety today. Can I keep my camera off? Absolutely.
Right.
I get it. Dang, there are days where I want to turn my camera off as the teacher. I feel you. But if a kid would have their camera off and we chatted them and they never responded, or they never verbally responded and they weren't on the assignment, we were allowed to mark them absent.
Well, I don't even think the attendance mattered. Honestly, I don't think it mattered.
Or grades or anything.
Yeah, but I will say education has been consistent across the board everywhere.
Yeah. Wow.
It's not just my district. It's not just your district. It has been consistent. And we've lost this race this year. Let's just be honest. Right. We've lost. We have failed our kids.
Yeah.
We have told them.
Let me change that. The system
there it is.
has failed the kids.
And us.
Y'all showed, but I can see if y'all didn't do
No, I'm saying that the system has failed us.
Yes.
Right, okay, there we go.
No, I'm not saying we failed our kids.
Okay,
I think that we did our part as teachers and tried our best.
Yeah.
I feel like the systems have failed the kids and us, trying to make us keep up with it, trying to...
It's like some ball players, they're playing their absolute best basketball, but it's but if the coach is drawing up the wrong plays, or if the coach benched me when I was on a good streak, or you know what I'm saying? It's bro, I did the best I could.
But when you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, what could they have done different? I mean, really?
Well, I think every district is different.
Right.
Because there are some district that was like, we ain't finna do this concurrent thing. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to keep all y'all at home until it's safe. Then there are some that said, okay, we're going to bring all y'all back in. So I do think that every district is different. There are some districts that were already a bit more tech savvy. I agree. From my vantage point, I've gone to some districts and they our teachers are straight. We've been doing technology. We've been utilizing this. But I've been to some districts. They man, can you do a 5-minute session on Zoom? I had one district. I told Tori. They told me, can you convince my teachers to cut their cameras on?
Wow.
I'm thinking what kind of culture y'all got going on?
Yep.
As the principal, if you say cut your cameras on, you getting pushed back from that.
Yeah.
So I just feel like every district kind of handled it and tackled it different. And I think it depends on the culture of the district and the leadership up top. But yeah, it was rough.
It was.
Yeah.
And it's you're trying to teach, I'm a hands-on person.
Mm-hmm.
I need that interaction. I like the experiments. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Well, I couldn't do that virtually because I don't know if little Johnny can afford the supplies to do the project. But I know if little Johnny was in my classroom, I would provide him with the supplies that he needed.
Oh, let's go deeper.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what you just said. I get she taking ownership.
Yeah.
Extreme ownership. That's why she said we failed it.
Yep.
You so deep, Doc. Y'all might have missed it.
Yeah.
She could have been yes, because that's what we jumped on. I was the system failed it, but you didn't. But you you know what? But I'm in the system.
Yep.
I'm a part of the system. And as a whole, I'm going to take ownership. We failed these kids. I just had to highlight that.
We did.
I felt like that was a deep moment because there's one thing to say, man, the district got to do this. But when you say, you know what? But I'm an employee of the district. I'm a part of the district. As a whole, we failed you kids. Not sure what we could have did differently.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that is the thing. What could we have done?
Right.
Because nobody was prepared for this.
No.
Nobody. We didn't see this coming.
And as many as professional developments, they tried to say that they did provide us over the summer.
Right.
But did it really prepare us for what was coming? Because they didn't even know it was coming.
Exactly.
I mean, and I think I personally believe that the struggle is that, like we talked about, this is not going away. Mm-hmm. We're going to feel the repercussions of this for a while. And And so what are we going to do about that? We can't continue to try and pretend like things are normal.
Because they're not.
Right.
And we're going to be failing our kids once again.
When you guys go back, or now that you all are back in school, is it in person?
So my county gave the kids the option. All of our
Still?
kids, no, not for hybrid. So instead of you going to Eastside High, where I teach, you will be going to Northside High.
Okay.
If you want it to be virtual. So it's no hybrid. You're either all in person or you're all virtual.
Okay.
That's what my county did.
But if you're going to be virtual, you're not even a part of our school anymore.
Okay.
It's a totally separate school.
Yeah, ours goes to like our online school.
Yep.
Like we have an online school in my district. But I will say that there were a lot of teachers that did realize that this was something they wanted to do.
Yep, we did
But
too.
unfortunately, our district didn't let teachers know when it was our time to like transfer within our district.
Oh, wow.
At that point that those kids were going to be going to that online school, we thought that we would still have some teachers teaching all online at our schools. And so I feel like some teachers kind of missed out on an opportunity for them to, use the resources you have. Why do you want to pull teachers from
Right.
outside of our county to teach at our online school when you have people that have shown that they are not only proficient at this, but they're distinguished at this and they have figured out how to do it well, and you're not going to use them now because you decided late in the game. So,
So what do you have planned this next year to safeguard yourself, protect your heart, to add the most value? What are you going to do differently this year than you maybe did before the pandemic even hit?
So-
how have you grown? How have you evolved?
I actually stepped outside of the box for me because
You've been outside the box though.
even with my speakers, everybody, even, I've had Rotimi came down from LA. I've had people to come down, but most of everyone is Atlanta based. But this past year from the pandemic, I was able to reach people I would have never been able to reach.
Right.
To come into my building. So I want to do more of that. I want to reach out to those people that wouldn't necessarily come to Atlanta just to come speak to my class, but they'll hop on a Zoom call.
Right.
So it's still showing that they value my kids because they're investing their time in speaking to my kids.
and we know that time is important.
Yeah.
Time is important. So I want to be more intentional because things are not going back. We are turning into a virtual society. Conferences will continue to be virtual, the whole nine. So I want to continue on and use that technology as much as I can without burning out my students.
So, but you will be in the classroom.
I will be in the classroom.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
And so
I can't be at
so
home.
now you'll have more guests come in person, but then also you might project some up on the board.
Right.
If they in
That's awesome.
virtually.
Yes.
That's strong.
And I never would have thought of that if the pandemic would have never hit. Because I had a speaker that asked me, well, I can't make it. I can't fly in. Can we do a Zoom call? And I was like, well, my school doesn't have the technology to be able to do this or the capability to do it. But now, it's no excuse. You can't come? Okay, cool. We can turn this into a virtual thing.
Right.
And the kids still get that same gratification because they get to see the person.
Right.
And they know it's personable.
I love it. Michael, see if that's your people up there. Yeah. So tell me that. Go ahead.
I will just say, I think that is such a beautiful thing to do, is to sit here and appreciate what we have learned from this year. We can sit here and say that this was the hardest year we've ever had, that it's made us consider whether or not this is actually what we're supposed to be doing, but we can still pull some
good out of it.
Yes. We have to find the good in the difficult. I mean, let's talk about new wine. Right?
Yeah.
In the pressing, in the crushing.
Yes.
Good things are coming out of it. New wine is being made, and I think that is just so important to think about, because we can get so stuck in this frustration of what last year was.
Yep. Right.
And we can get so stuck in feeling like it was a waste of our time, or that it was a waste of our kids' time, or that nothing good came from it and I was so drained and blah, blah, blah. But no.
Yeah.
personally, the way I think of it is, but God.
Yeah.
But God is going to do something good. And for me personally, I feel like, and we've talked about this somehow, I feel like I found my voice this past year more than I've ever really had a voice.
Right.
And I see that the Lord is stirring something in me to push me into something greater.
But it came from the pain.
But it did. It came from the pain.
The tears, the frustration, the counseling, like you grew from that.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people run from it.
Yes.
And see, for me, I had to stop being so negative on myself because my thing was, I can't be the teacher that I'm meant to be in this virtual setting.
Talk about that.
And I felt like I couldn't build those relationships because I was virtual. And I had to get out of my own head to say, yes, you can. My kids talk to me through Instagram. That is our method of communication. They know if you want to reach Dr. Morrow, don't send me no email because I'm not going to respond. But I will always respond to your DM.
Right.
So I actually grew closer to my students during this pandemic in this virtual setting, quote unquote. So once I got out of my head that I couldn't do something and just did it, it was a success.
You know, we talk about don't focus on what's wrong, focus on what's strong.
Yep.
And that's exactly what you did.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I think as teachers, we have to make that decision. It's a choice.
Yes.
It is a choice on whether or not you're going to sit and stir in the negativity of it, or whether you're going to realize and push yourself out and say, no, I can do this.
Yes.
I can make these connections. Because I feel like so many of us thought we couldn't make connections in this time. But honestly, back when quarantine first hit back in March of 2020, I felt like I grew closer to those kids that actually did come on in Zoom with me. I grew closer to those kids than I had in that short amount of time than I had all year long.
Wow.
And so I think that we have to make that decision. And we also have to be very careful because we can get together in the workroom and we can sit here and spin our negative cycles and we can feed off that negativity.
We don't like change. Oh, that's the problem.
Yeah.
We don't like change. Oh, I've been teaching for 10 years. I'm not going to do this. I've been teaching for 15 years. We don't like change.
Yeah.
And that's what we had to learn how to adapt.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, that was the biggest struggle. It wasn't teaching through the pandemic.
Right.
It was adapting to change. Yeah. Because it wasn't inside of our norm.
Yeah. And it's just getting over it and saying, well, this is what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Because and it already presents its own challenges. The different kids, different learning styles, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different cultures. Then you got different things that the district is asking for you when it comes to, all the different tests and all the different data and all the different reports and all of that. And it's like, okay, I finally got a groove.
Yep.
Things are going.
And now you got to change.
I got to change everything. Oh, it's virtual.
Yep.
Oh, I'm teaching in person and they virtual. Congruent. And we wearing masks in the class.
Right.
Oh, I can't really touch nothing. Has it been sanitized? Am I going to bring stuff back home to my family?
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is.
I want to take a moment, though, to challenge you and I, and those of you at home listening, though, and take what we just talked about the fact that this past year was so difficult. But we grew and we learned from it. And we found something positive out of it. And I want you to apply that. I want me to apply that to this upcoming year. Because like we've already discussed, this year isn't going to be easy either. We're still going to be dealing with the repercussions and the reverberations of this past year.
Yep. Right. And we're here for it.
But we survived last year, but we also, and I don't want to say we just survived, because although some of us feel like we, by the skin of our teeth, survived, there are some things that we did thrive in. And so to find those things that we did thrive in.
Yeah, that's good.
And support each other in those things and realize, okay, if I can thrive in, making relationships with students virtually when I thought I couldn't, then whatever gets thrown at me in this upcoming year. So for me, my thing that I'm very nervous about is the fact that my kids, I'm going to have plenty that didn't learn 6th grade math. And now they also have to learn 7th grade math. And we know that math is building blocks. They build upon each other. I can still do that, though.
Right.
Finding that balance.
That's it. So are you excited about the school year?
Actually, I am. I'm excited to have all of my kids back. I'm excited to have some sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
I know things won't get back to the way they used to be, but I need that interaction. I'm ready for us to all come back together, laugh, have a good time. Because in my class, I can tell anybody, if I got to sit up there and talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce in order for you to understand what marketing means, then that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
So I'm excited.
And I think that mindset matters. And you said it. You was like, hey, it might not go to how it used to be, but is it really supposed to? We're supposed to change.
Right. Yeah.
We're supposed to evolve. So, Tori, when you go to the gym and you working out, you ain't going to put in 3 months of work and then be the same. You're supposed to change. So sometimes these painful things we go through is there to actually change us. And hopefully, prayerfully,
painful.
Right. We'll change for the better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what next level teaching is all about. It's us getting to a point where we say, okay, when I go into the classroom, so when you're in the classroom, and Tori, you're in the classroom every day and you're doing what you got to do, it's like, okay, what adjustments can I make? How can I grow? How can I get better today than I was yesterday or the day before that?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really what it's all about. And the benefit from it are these kids.
Right.
And I feel like the most amazing teachers that we've been privileged to interview are those who said, I made adjustments, I made changes, I made some tweaks, I switched up my approach for the betterment of the students to enhance their experience, not to make it easier on me, not to make it more comfortable or more convenient. I'm sure you got to go out your way to bring in guests.
Yeah.
But you do that because it comes from a pure place. You want to make sure that you put the most aspiring minds in front of your students to make sure that they can grow and learn and really be engaged.
Right.
And that's why you got kids skipping other classes to try to get in your class because they want to be dialed in to learn something.
Yeah.
That's next level. That's next level.
So I would like to know, what is one thing that if the current administration were to say, you could change this, one thing in the whole entire education system, what would it be? This is my personal favorite question that we ask because I feel like there's something different from everyone.
Yep.
And I love to hear that.
Honestly, accountability.
Oh.
Okay.
Speak to that.
I would love for the students to be held more accountable. We gotta stop spoon feeding and allowing them to get away with the things that they're getting away with, whether that's behavior or academics. Because there is no job that you're gonna go to and your boss is gonna give you chance after chance after chance after chance. I have a 3-day policy in my class. If you turn in late work, you have 3 days to make it up. Each day is a 10-point deduction. After those 3 days, it remains a 0. I'm not going to allow you to make up some work from last semester or 2 weeks ago. Your job, I tell them, this example I give them, BB&T does not care if Ryan didn't do his half of the lesson plan because my mortgage is still going to be due at the first of the month.
Right.
So if we can change the accountability on behalf of the students, that would be the one thing that I would change.
Yeah. And I'll say I was very frustrated this past year with the fact that in my district, we essentially promoted all kids no matter what. And there were 2 students in particular that we were thinking about potentially retaining, and I didn't see those students all semester. And I talked to my administrator at the very end of the school year to figure out, were we retaining them or not? And the administrator was like, well, we do have to promote them. And they gave me some reasons. And some of those were, that they had really struggled with their mental health this past year with anxiety and depression. And I said,
we all have.
You literally watched me have multiple breakdowns at work, but I still showed up every single day. And I understand that they're kids. I get that. I 100% get that. But what are we teaching them?
Because when you go out into the real world, you're not going to get chance after chance after chance.
No.
We got to stop holding their hands.
Yes.
When do they learn responsibility?
Yes. And I think that we're doing them a disservice. We truly are doing them a disservice when we continue to, like you said, spoon feed them and not hold them accountable. Because the real world isn't like that. And you're right. When are they going to learn it? School is not just to learn the content. My dad is never even went to college, barely graduated from high school. The man barely learned anything. I'm going to be flat out honest. I'm going to be very honest. Bless him. But he talks about how school is not just to learn the content. That's not. You're learning how to think critically. You're learning deadlines. You're learning life skills in school. That's the point of school. And we're losing that. We're stepping away from that, and we're saying that the content matters more than the life skills. And I would 100% disagree with that.
I mean, I tell them, if all I taught you was the standards, I failed you as your teacher.
Right. Amen.
I failed you. It's not about that. Like you said, it's about the deadlines. It's about everything. I'll never forget, I had a student that sent me a DM, y'all. This was probably 3:00 in the morning, asking him, what did I tell him in class 6 months ago about credit card debt, about debt to income ratio? But it was just like, it finally clicked.
Right.
Yeah. I have been so blessed to have students that have reached back out to me after the fact, that have said, I appreciate this. At the time, I didn't see it. But now that I'm on my own, it comes full circle for me.
That's what makes it all worthwhile, too.
It makes it all worthwhile. If you could touch one child, you've done your job.
Yes, that is it. That's my goal every single year, is just one kid a year. And I will say that holding our kids, I think when we do hold our kids accountable, when you do stick to that 3-day policy, they do actually end up appreciating it because they need that structure. I had one student that reached out to me the year after I taught her, and she said something about the fact that although my class may be hard sometimes and I may be strict sometimes, I helped prepare her.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that.
Yes. And I think that that's what we also have to remember, is that they need that structure.
They do.
And they may say that they don't want it, but they actually do.
And they might book and they long for it. Because oftentimes when they go home and they're in their home or they're in their communities, it's no structure. It's like the Wild Wild West, depending on where they are. It's a lot of stuff going on. They long for that structure, that order, that stability. They really do need that. That's that's deep. And you get those often. You get those. It's like, you know what? Thank you. Like that's why I do.
That's why you do what you do.
And you need that to keep moving forward. Before we go to lightning round, what's one piece of advice briefly that you would share with a new educator? First year educator.
To be patient with yourself and to know at the end of the day, you can't save everybody.
That's it right there.
You cannot save everybody. My first year teaching, I was so depressed because I valued education. It was instilled in me as a child. I value your education more than you do.
Wow.
You can't save everybody. And once you learn to understand that, I promise you, it'll be a breeze from there. But that's the hardest thing I had to learn.
Wow.
And I think that doesn't mean that you give up.
Right.
But you just...
It frees yourself.
Yes, it does.
From the depression, from the stress.
I have done what I can do with this.
Yes. And you have to be at peace with that.
Yes.
Now, if you know in your heart you could have did more, you could have been more progressive, taken a different approach, apologized, been more down to earth, maybe called the parents more or pulled the child aside, that's one thing.
That's different.
But if you've done everything, you done read books, it's like, look, I done did my part. I'm going to put you in the Lord's hands.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Rapid fire. Here we go. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll pull up the 60 seconds here.
How long does it take you to get ready?
I want to know this one so bad. 40 minutes.
Okay, that's not that bad. What's a nickname your parents used to call you?
Pumpkin.
Oh, that's cute. What's the fastest speed that you've been in a car?
90.
Were you driving?
Yes.
Who has it easier, men or women?
Men.
Thank you. What's your favorite childhood TV show?
The Cosbys.
Oh, favorite junk food?
Chips.
Place you most want to travel?
Dubai.
Oh, take me with you.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank. Beyonce is
amazing.
Is it wrong for vegetarians to eat animal crackers?
That's good. That's the curveball jokey joke.
Hey.
Hey, that's our time.
Oh my gosh, that
Dr.
was
Morrow,
good.
thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This was
That was a
amazing.
good conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you
It
for
was.
being transparent with us today.
It's needed.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's needed.
It
Yeah.
is. And I think sometimes as educators, we feel like we can't be.
Right.
We have to be prim and
Yep.
proper all the time and
Yep.
say all the right
Right.
things.
Yeah.
We
And
tell folks to keep it 100. Just don't say something that could get you fired.
Right.
yes, right.
Because we're not hiring right now.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
I push it a little bit sometimes,
right. I
but
love it.
But seriously, thank you. Thank you for being innovative and showing your students and not just telling your students. Thank you for the ideas from today. I'm excited to step out a little bit as well. But thank you for your heart.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It has been a pleasure
Yeah.
to have
Gotta
you
come
on
back.
today.
Yes,
You gotta come
definitely.
back.
So refreshing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hey, so look, we're going to bring her back. Y'all let us know in the comments how much you enjoyed this episode. If you're listening to this or if you're watching this, make sure you leave us a review.
5 stars.
5 stars. Show us some love, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Get it.
Bye.